Welcome back to Villanova Stadium as the lights are being ready to at least be dimmed, maybe even shut off, as Illinois State defeats Villanova by a final score of 30-14 to advance to the FCS National Championship. David Szczepanski, Stephen Cain with you here in the postgame show. Steve, our final broadcast here of Nova Football tonight. Of course, we'll still have coverage for men's and women's basketball throughout the rest of the season. Both us seniors are going to be graduating in May. So much that really I think we could say, and none of this is scripted. This will be straight from the heart, and we'll see how this goes. See how long I go on this. So many people I want to thank. I first want to start off by thanking you, my friend. You are an excellent broadcasting partner, extremely well prepared, brings the passion, brings the energy. It's an honor to have called these games the last 3 years technically with you. I know I've been on air for 4, but that we've worked together for 3 years of Villanova football. So I first want to get that out of the way because you deserve a ton of credit, Steve. And then in addition to that, I want to thank Nick Langan, our advisor, who has just done a great job, producer. I mean, he really helps everything go well behind the scenes. This morning we actually had a power outage at our studio, at our Dr. Hall studio, where they were doing some maintenance. It took a few hours to get it restored, but Nick and also our other advisor, Kat Coyle with OSI, were on the phone trying to get everything ready for tonight's broadcast. They do so much work behind the scenes that our listeners don't get able to see, and truly I want to take a time to appreciate them, Kat and the Villanova Office of Student Involvement, for helping me get to Texas last week to cover the game against Tarleton State, for supporting us in terms of equipment, in terms of student radio. Nothing would be possible without them. The Office of Student Involvement, of course, Villanova University, for allowing us to have this tool of student radio and student media, such a powerful tool. Student media is so well alive here at Villanova. And then just truly want to thank all of our listeners. I mean, we would be nowhere without them. Just so thankful for the incredible support on social media, in person too. I mean, Steve, covering Villanova football the last few years, whether it was in Towson, Penn State, Monmouth, on the road last week in Texas, this week here against Illinois State, we always run into people that, congratulate us on just doing a great job. And it's so surreal because, you don't get to necessarily see people constantly because, we're talking through a radio medium and they don't even get to see us. But to know that people are listening and, viewing the broadcast and enjoying what we're talking about, enjoying our coverage of Villanova athletics, especially Villanova football, is so incredibly special. And I also, of course, want to thank Coach Ferrante and the Villanova football team. Steve, I've had the opportunity to cover, so many different teams over now 7 years that I've been broadcasting in high school and here at Villanova. And this Villanova football team this year, I think, probably was the most fun that I've ever had covering a team. This team was so special. The way that they were so close-knit, well bonded in the locker room. Just a fun team to watch. Coach Dillon said it last night at Women's Hoops. Just a fun team to support, a fun team to watch, a fun team to rally around, and it truly was. I want to thank Coach Ferrante again for his support coming on our WXVU program at the Bone Marrow Drive broadcast. That will still be coming up in April. We'll still talk with Coach, but for the player support, it is just truly incredibly thankful. So I can't thank the Villanova football program enough. Dean Kennefick, the SID for Villanova football, just so much thank you to him, his staff, Joan, and just really this entire Villanova football team and community. Steve, we've spent a fifth of our lives here at Villanova, and I've spent those 4 years calling Villanova football, and those are moments that I'll remember for the rest of my life. That win against Tarleton State last week in Texas was truly something that I think we'll all remember. I know, Steve, you were watching from afar. For me, being in Texas, it was just such a special moment. So incredibly thankful, and this program, this team, this university just means so much to me, and really just thankful for all the support. Just my love goes out to all the listeners out there. Of course, the Villanova football team for their support, like I said, and the university, Kat Coyle, Nick Langan, of course you, all the broadcasting partners we've had, Pat Scanlon, Dominic Richetti, Nathan Mather. I know I'm going to forget some people, Aubrey Bowles, but the list just continues to go on. Just really incredibly thankful. So, Steve, I'm out of words, ready to cry, but it's been a great run with you, buddy, and really thankful for all the moments and memories we've made here in the booth.
Yeah, completely agree with all of that. Again, want to thank you as well. I think a lot of people don't see all the work behind the scenes that you do, sending out emails for permission to cover games, weeks in advance, contacting, SIDs from different schools, being super knowledgeable with the equipment, Marty Dickerson as well, you've great relationship with him, and, you learned a lot, with the equipment and, setting up the computer, and also, trying to run social media, during commercials, and, you're one of the hardest working people I've ever met.
Thank you, Steve.
It's definitely been an honor, covering. Yeah, thank you. It's definitely been an honor, calling all the games, right? And, it's just been a remarkable ride. Again, echo all the sentiment. Nick Lang and Kat Coyle, all the people that make this possible, because again, it's definitely a privilege to do this. And again, the listeners out there too, as I really liked what you said.
We would be nothing without them.
Yeah, they give us a platform to do this, and especially, I think in particular for Villanova football, it's a unique opportunity because again, a lot of the games are on Flow Sports, and some people may not have that, and we kind of provide maybe the only way for people to keep up with Villanova football on like a play-by-play basis. These games aren't nationally televised on Fox. The men's basketball team gets some more coverage, but Villanova football, it's a shame. They've been so great, the past few years, and I'm so thankful that again that we've used this platform to kind of give them the love that they deserve.
Absolutely,
they've had some great seasons.
Well said.
Right, you think about last year, making it to the second round, the year before the quarterfinals. Really only the freshman year, there was maybe some struggles, but the last 3 years they've been really good, and you just go back through the years, they're consistently, it is the FCS, people will say that, but with the resources they have, they've done a great job of just making the quarterfinals consistently. Right, they made it, I believe, 10 times since 1997. That's really impressive, and having a national championship, making the semifinals now for 4 times, and then they've made the national championship once. So, just blessed to be, a part of that, to kind of be a part of that ride. And I completely agree. I think it's, the most fun that I've had, calling games, right? The Villanova football team, we have a good relationship with them. Guys have come on the program. Pat McQuaid, came on before the playoffs, and that was super fun. That got us super amped up for what ended up being a really fun playoff run, even though maybe it didn't end in the way that we wanted it to, right? Especially after North Dakota State getting knocked out. So, yeah, completely agree with all that. Definitely, sucks that, it had to end, like this, but again, just look at the record books, right? This is one of the best seasons in Villanova history, and it's a single elimination tournament. Unless you win the whole thing, it's probably going to end in a loss. And this Illinois State team coming in, just they're world beaters. You have to tip your cap to them. They came in and outplayed Villanova. So really just phenomenal. But again, the skies are bright. The women's team looks really solid. We'll cover them a ton, and they're kind of in a similar boat. The football team, we've one of the only mediums that you consistently cover women's basketball, and then the men's team, is really turning up. A great win yesterday, and then on Tuesday, that Seton Hall game will be huge on December 23rd. So definitely excited, and just want to echo all of that. Very well said, and definitely been an honor to call the games with you these past 4 years.
Yeah, Steve, I just want to say a few final things here. Marty Dickerson, of course, you brought up his name. Quite literally a huge part of this broadcast. He is the professional engineer for Ryan Fannin and the commercial radio crew here at Villanova. He has done such a great job at helping us. The effects that you hear outside of the third down, music, crowd noise, is all from Marty and his help, and that's been significant and so huge over these last couple of years. So that's been really incredible. And Steve, when we started doing this game, we had one mic from Villanova football a few years ago. We were passing it around the table. Now we have a full professional, work set, a full, all professional equipment, and Marty's been a big part of helping that, in addition with Kat Coyle and Nick Langan. So really just so incredibly thankful again to all the players, the coaches. I know we're going on, but really just appreciate you. And I just want to say this too. I mean, I know that sometimes this stadium is not as filled as I think people would like it to be.
Yeah.
But the Villanova football fan base, alumni, supporters are some of the most passionate people that I've ever met. And I really hope that continues here at Villanova, and I know that it will continue here. Joe Makoid, Kathy Makoid, all the Nova football alumni, so incredibly thankful to them for their support, allowing me to film the content that I do and do the things that we do. Really so thankful, and I know this football program is in a really good space when we leave it. I know the broadcast will be in a really good space, and looking forward to continuing something that I think is really, really special, and really just want to thank all of you for being a part of it. So again, want to thank everybody for tuning in from Villanova Stadium. That will do it for the final time. Steve, it's been a pleasure. Final score, Illinois State 30, Villanova 14. Best of luck to Illinois State in the national championship on January 5th. For Nick Langan, our advisor and producer, for Kat Coyle, our advisor, for Stephen Cain, I'm David Szczepanski. Have a great rest of your night, and for the final time from Villanova Stadium, at the very least for football coverage, go Cats!